Hi there, welcome back to another quick and easy watercolor painting. Today we're going to look at a piece of landscape that I see quite often, actually coming from Hastings down to Coburg, and it's kind of interesting because they have a hill that sort of swoops from the top right downwards, and there's an interesting tree line that comes across like this. Let's see where that's ran away there a little bit too far. I don't want that, so I'm just going to dry that up a little bit. But there's this interesting tree line that sort of swoops down. So I'm going to put a little bit of that on there, and then I'm not going to rinse this out or anything, okay? I'm going to pick up this yellow ochre, and the tree line or the field sort of swoops down like this, and so we're going to allude to that a little bit, this swooping down effect. And we're going to keep our colors, kind of mixed up because it's very early in the spring, but I'm going to try to not touch this color into that. Now I'm not going to rinse this brush out. I'm going to take this brush and put it right onto my Payne's gray. And I'm going to tap it. You can hear it just tapping. Okay. And then I'm going to add a little bit of this across there. Again, to create some visual interest across there. Okay. Now this is also going to go back into the wash, and we're just going to come right down across there really quickly like that. This is going to be a little bit brighter green. And see how that's sort of alluding to, there's a close tree line and then there's a tree line further back. That's what we're going for. I'm going to set this down now, and I'm going to pick up this #1 watercolor brush, but I've sharpened a point on the end. And I'm going to put some fence post all along here. Or I'm just going to make some marks that are sort of going to allude to fence post. And down here I'm going to put some foliage or some small trees or whatever interests you. Okay, across there. And you can scribe right into that paper with this, and what it does is it leaves a little valley for the paint to flow into. So I have a dark line. As you can see, that's sort of started to dry on there, where you get this dark line. All right, so we're going to let this whole thing dry first, though. Before it dries too much, we're going to just take our tissue and extract out a little bit of paint there to allude to the idea that we're trying to put some clouds in there. Now you see where that just sort of bubbled up there? We don't want that, so we're going to tip the page like this and get that to run back down into here. So watercolor is a lot about controlling the water and where the water is running to, or where you don't want the water to run to. So I didn't want all that to run up into my sky. So you just simply pick up the page and force the water to run back down this way so that you don't get all that Payne's gray up in the sky. All right, let's let this dry, and we'll come right back. Okay, so you can see how that dried. That's super cool how that tree line dries across there. So it's just about controlling the water. So what we're going to do now is we're going to put in just a very light amount of green, because we're trying to allude to the idea that this is spring. So see how I've kind of kept that so it's a little bit jaggedy. It's not like a flat wash. It's very loose, expressive. Draw your lines coming down like this. I'm going to rinse that brush out. I'm going to pick up a little bit of this yellowy green, and I'm going to drop it into a few places along there. And I might even go just pick up a little bit of yellow itself. Drop some yellow into some places like that. All right, now we need this to all dry up, but before we do that, I'm going to introduce a little bit of salt here. And I'm just going to drop it into a few places like that. Add some visual interest to that. All right, let's let this dry. All right, so that salt kind of, I'm just going to knock some of that salt off there, but that salt created some really cool little pieces across there. Let's have a look at this. Yeah, that's kind of exactly the way that I think of it in my head, with this tree line off in the distance back here. Look how that little fence turned out all the way across there. That's pretty cool too. And this little bit of a hedgerow across the front here. And the way I took those little bits of white out across there for the sky turned out pretty good too. Well, I hope you learned something from me today. I'd love to hear from you. If you got a question or a comment, drop it in the comment section. I'd love to know where you're from. If you could leave me a quick little message and let me know where you're from, I'd really appreciate it. If you're currently a subscriber, thanks a lot. If you're not currently a subscriber, please consider subscribing to my channel. Thanks a lot for watching today, and we'll see you again real soon.